Welcome to Sex Positive Gaming. I'm Annie, and today I want to talk about Dune. Yes, I'm going to cover the parody game behind the Dune as part of this video, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about the other games, the books, the movies, and the TV series as well. This is a really creative and fantastic series, and with a lot of people experiencing it for the first time because of the recent movie release, I really wanted to include it in this parody week. Is it perfect? Of course not, but it has absolutely become a part of our modern folklore. Published in 1965, Dune is absolutely a product of its time. This book is about drugs, sex, and politics. There are so many different flavors covered that the only big gap is homosexuality. Baron Harkonnen is the only outwardly gay character, and there is that whole conflating homosexuality with child abuse thing going on there. But like I said, Dune is absolutely a product of its time. This is peak male heterosexual power fantasy with harems, concubines, notori, impregnation, and of course, Fremen spice orgies. There is a lot of debate as to what they specifically entail, but it is pretty safe to say that it is not YouTube or Patreon approved. Sadly, as is the case with most written works that have a lot of sexual content, the adaptations have focused on the violence and politics at the expense of much of the sex. For all the acclaim it has received, the Denis Villeneuve movie appears to be the most desexualized version yet. I'm not sure if this is because of some puritanical aesthetic, or that Zendaya is contractually obligated to pretend that they are actually attracted to Spider-Man. We'll just have to see with the subsequent films. As it stands, the sci-fi made-for-TV movie is the truest to the book of the three attempts when it comes to sexual content, but that isn't always a good thing. The evolution of our modern folktales should show changes and new interpretations, as this book is over 50 years old. If copyright still functioned as intended, this should already be in public domain, and we would have more than just the official fanfiction written by the author's son. It's good fanfiction, but just like the conclusion of the Wheel of Time series, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, or anything written by Christopher Tolkien, it is still fanfiction. The video games are actually really fun if you can get a copy of them, and get that copy to work. There were two very different games published in 1992, Dune and Dune 2. Dune plays like a standard graphic adventure, and Dune 2 is widely considered to be the first real-time strategy game ever. I actually own a version of the remake of Dune 2, Dune 2000, but I couldn't get it to work. Fortunately, there is an updated version that works with modern computers released by Grunt Mods that I was able to play. Same deal as the movies, lots of gore and violence, but no sexual content. Fortunately, Behind the Dune tries to make up for the removal of sexual content in the movies, comics, and other games. You are able to play this point-and-click adventure in a safe for work mode if you just like to explore the story, but I doubt it is safe enough for streaming. Gameplay-wise, this is very similar to the original 1992 release of Dune, and the story is remarkably true to the spirit of the original 6 works written by Frank Herbert and the later official fanfictions. It is really obvious that a lot of time and attention was placed into making the story feel like Dune. For example, the Spacing Guild navigator that you can interact with is female, which is really cool because the person who created the first guild ship, Norma Senva, was female. They were even made to be the first guild navigator ever in later fanfictions. Graphically, the hand-drawn art is really striking, consistent, and well done. The backgrounds are a little minimalistic, but there are animations throughout the game. While these animations are silent, the soundtrack is really decent. Flavor-wise, this is a mostly male heterosexual parody experience. This includes lesbian, mind control, harems, humor, sci-fi, power exchange, monsters, and violence. It basically removes all of the Harkonnen content, because that would make for a very, very different experience. I'm not shaming, I think a giddy prime-focused game would be fascinating. Dark, but fascinating. This is probably one of the best parody titles currently available. It's completed with 4 different endings, but the developer, David Balsamic, keeps releasing new scenes and content which I am not going to object to. So if you like the series and want to explore an interesting take on the year 10,191 of the Imperial calendar, I highly recommend giving Arrakis a shot. Behind the Dune is available for PC, Mac, and Android for free on their Patreon. Let me know what you think. I know that some of you won't agree with my take on fanfiction, but I think we should probably get more credence to derivative works, and maybe become less obsessed with the idea of canon. Otherwise, we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment, as piratical organizations like Disney continue to extend copyright protection while looting from our collective folklore. I know there was a lot less game discussion this time, so also let me know how you feel about that. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming. Thanks to all this month's supporters on Patreon. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you.